We're filming. Okay, so the reason why we are filming is because this is actually going to be part of the behind the scenes of a heist movie that we are making right now. Not literally right now, we're not like heisting at the convention, that's a different movie. But no, seriously, I really want, Eden mentioned this a little while ago, I really want to do a heist movie called Comic Con Artists about pulling a heist at Comic-Con, really using the Comic-Con stuff, the getaway driver having to take the bad parking into account. Who had parking issues today? I know, right? I had to take the train just to avoid the parking issues, or the face using cosplay to do the disguises and stuff like that, having the MacGuffin be a copy of a really, really old comic book, and trying to get it to somebody to sign it, like Henry Cavill. He would absolutely do that sort of movie. Sorry, I am rambling so that Scarlett can get some time to write. So the movie that we're making is called Red and Black. It's a classy, sexy, fun, glamour heist. We're not going to be like doing too much promo for it today, but I do want to give the context that, like, hey, you are talking to the cast and crew of a heist movie. I'm the director. I'm Bueller. Scarlett, go ahead and give some sort of introduction to yourself.
Hi, I'm Scarlett Drake, and I am going to be in the movie Red and Black. I'm actually going to be playing two characters, Pixie, and the other one is Rouge, the Femme Fatale.
Mitch?
My name is Mitch Tyler, and I will be playing Handy Jack, and he is known as the fixer of this particular crew in the film, and he is, you know, his name is in the title basically. He's a jack of all trades, he's very, very handy, obviously, and he is a weapons, vehicle, explosives expert. He can just, whatever anyone needs, he can get his hands on it.
What we cannot get is enough unstruck heist movies to talk about. Here are the ones that we have seen that are unstruck. I have spent weeks meticulously checking every single studio involved in any of these movies to find out which ones are and are not part of the AMPTP. So in solidarity with strikes, these are the only ones that we will be talking about that we have seen. Short films are basically on the table. The AMPTP doesn't make short films, they're not profitable enough. So if you have questions, we will have a question section at the end. I'm sorry we cannot talk about Ocean's 11. That is a Warner Brothers movie. I wish, but we can't. Anyway, from there, Scarlett, Mitch, what do you love about heist movies?
Oh, my favorite thing about heist movies is that there is always a twist.
Yes. Let's get the mic a little closer to you.
My favorite thing about heist movies is that there is always a twist at the end, and the really good ones keep you guessing the whole time, and you can never figure it out. It's always a surprise.
Mitch?
The thing I love most about heists is just how fun and thrilling they are. I mean, yes, there will always be danger involved in, you know, high stakes operations such as, you know, stealing millions upon millions of, you know, whatever the prize or currency or whatever it is that, you know, the crew is after. But at the end of the day, more often than not, if you really think about it, you see all these crews and, you know, heist members pulling it off with a smile on their faces and the satisfaction of knowing that they can have whatever they want as long as they go after it, no hesitation. And it's just a blast to watch for me every time.
That's a lot of what it is for me too. I see heist movies as like this wish fulfillment fantasy for people with anxiety of just, if you are good enough at planning and you have good enough timing, you can do anything you want and get away with it. And then I'm like, but I'm not good enough at timing, and I'm not good enough at planning. I barely made the train today. And the reason why it's a wish fulfillment fantasy is because it's this perfect blend of beautiful and cool, of classy and sexy. I love the movies that glamorize the heist and afterward make you think, I want to do that. That looks awesome, which is a lot of our goal with what we're doing. Moving on, I'm going to turn the screen toward y'all. Oh, that did not work. And I want y'all to pick a movie on the list that y'all are going to see in just a sec, and info dump about it. Tell us about why you love it. Tell us about why it's great. Scarlett, you go first.
I'm going to talk about Now You See Me. And got a lot of great actors in it, first off.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got one of the big tropes in heist movies is that you see the forward play, and then at the end it kind of like reverses. And it shows you the parts that you didn't see on the other side of things. Just Now You See Me is a good example of this, with the all-time best narrator, Morgan Freeman, who throughout the movie tells the police how these people, the magicians, are doing their magic tricks. So that's just one of the recurrent themes that happens through heist movies.
Yeah, I never thought of Now You See Me as just like a series of how they did it twist explanations, but it's also kind of like a reverse version of the mastermind explaining the plan. That is a brilliant movie. I love that movie. It's so much fun. Mitch, did you have one, or do you need me to turn it?
I had a couple in mind if I could talk about two.
Sure.
So the first one that I wanted to talk about is The Drive, which I personally consider to be one of the greatest films of the 2010s. It's an absolute masterclass in subtle, slow burn indie filmmaking, which happens to star a rather big star, Ryan Gosling. And what I love about Drive is, I remember when it was first coming out, and people were under the assumption that it was going to be another kind of high-octane, fast-paced type car chase movie, like, in the vein of, certain films that Jason Statham likes to make quite a bit. But it really was very careful and deliberate. It took its time, and it's very, very glamorous and very neo-noir, which is also another subgenre I've always been fascinated with. It shows you the glitz and glamour of, big LA and things like that, but also showing you kind of the nitty gritty of what kind of goes on in that underbelly of that criminal underworld and things like that. And I just thought it was so meticulously put together and very well made. And yeah, it has a car chase or two, not as many as you'd think, but it really just it pulls your expectations from out under you with what you expect from a heist film. And yes, heist movies are a lot of fun, and that's the main thing I love about them, but every now and then I'm also fascinated in the heist films where things go very, very wrong, and Drive is definitely one of those. Not to spoil too much about the middle act, but that does happen. And then the second film I wanted to go over was Good Time, the brilliant A24 Robert Pattinson-led crime thriller. Again, another example of a heist gone very wrong. And the Safdie brothers are just absolute geniuses. I never in my life had seen a film where my anxiety just kept rising and rising and rising until I saw Good Time, and I was like, oh my God, when is he gonna dig himself out of this hole? It just keeps getting deeper, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and he just keeps getting himself into more and more and more trouble as it goes on. And I had just never seen anything like that, where I was just on the edge of my seat the whole film, despite it being, again, another slow burn film, more or less. And I thought I'd seen the worst of it, and then they came out with Uncut Gems a couple years later, and my anxiety went skyrocketed even more. But anyway, I digress. Those are two that really stick out to me as far as heists go, and indie heists in particular. Those are probably my two favorites.
See, my anxiety rises throughout the movie regardless of what the movie is. But that's just me. I'm going to highlight Paddington 2 for a second. If you have not seen this movie, please go see this movie. This is, no offense, the best movie of the 2010s. It's about a young bear cub who goes to prison. It's a kid's movie. And we get 3 different heists throughout this movie. Actually, more like 5. Like, the movie's just heist after heist after heist, but they're all the sort of heists that kids can pull off, because this is a very whimsical world, and the camera angles and the editing and the music are all built toward reminding you this is a whimsical world. This is not a world of grit. This is a world where you don't need a gun to pull off a heist. You just need a very small distraction and a very large parachute. And it's so much fun, and it's heartwarming, and it's a tearjerker. Like, there are multiple cry moments, and it's got this beautiful theme of if we are kind and polite, the world would be right. The world would be a better place if everybody watched Paddington 2 once. A lot of people would say that's not a heist movie, and I'm like, I'm technically counting it. What are some heisty tropes that you've always wanted to do in real life?
Car chasing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the very same thing. Scarlett, a car chase. I'm very, very hopeful and ambitious to be able to pull one of those off.
Okay, what are some like moments of car chases you're like, that's what I want to do. I want to like stare down the guy next to me. I want to fish hook and fish tail, whatever the word is. I want to run through a red light and not get caught. I want to leave the. What are some specific moments that you imagine?
All of it.
Woohoo!
I think my favorite would be, and I don't know with it's called fishtailing, but you know, where you go, you just really fast, skid on the brakes and do a 360 turn and go the other way.
Yes.
Is that what a fishtail is?
I don't know car words. I'm not a car person. I just know they look cool on screen. I don't even own a car. Mitch.
Yeah, same thing. Like, any sort of trick or stunt I can pull off in a car, I'm all for it. I wouldn't rule anything out, given the proper training, of course, that I'd be able to pull it off, obviously.
I have always wanted to do the mastermind stuff, casing a joint, doing reconnaissance, making the plan, explaining why this is the most secure room in the world, laying out blueprints on a table dramatically and sweeping everything off, only for somebody to go, dude, that was my lunch. It'll get better. It got better, don't worry. I've always wanted to do that sort of stuff. That seems like so much fun to me. Speaking of which, what are some things, we talked about how y'all are making a heist movie. What are some things that excite you about doing this particular film?
I'm excited to be the acrobat and, do all the aerial stunts and stuff like that.
Okay, I'm sorry, you can't just leave off with that.
I don't want to spoil too much.
Okay, so what Scarlett's not telling you is that she mentioned she's playing 2 characters. One of them is the Femme Fatale, one of them is the Sneak, the girl who crawls through vents and crawls on walls and crawls a lot of crawling. The thing is, I did not realize this when I casted Scarlett. She's an aerialist. This is what she does for fun, to relax after work. Please tell us more about your aerialism and how that might pertain to actually making a movie. You're allowed to spoil stuff. We have to spoil something here. I mean, they're heist movies. You have to talk about twists.
Okay, well, I got into aerialist about 10 years ago. I unfortunately taken the last 2 years off for medical reasons. But I am back, and I am really excited to get that strength back, to be able to do those tricks again. I'm excited to go through a laser maze. I think that's probably my favorite thing I'm most excited about is the laser maze.
Oh yeah.
On that topic, so unfortunately Scarlett wasn't available this day, but Mitch and I got to do an actual laser maze. Mm-hmm. They're not as hard to set up as you would think. You get a couple laser pointers, a couple cosmetics mirrors, some tape, and a fog machine. That's the actual difficult one. So you can just bounce the lasers off and have the fog machine light up the lasers. Mitch, tell us about that experience.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun actually. We tried all sorts of different, setups, layouts, combinations of, where we wanted to aim the lasers and, make it, varying levels of difficult. And it was just really, really fun and interesting to, kind of flex my flexibility skills, or lack thereof at times. Some of them I managed okay on, and others, not so much, but it was still a very fun and immersive process, and, kind of just, like I said, immersing myself more into, the world of heisting and getting through, high-tech security and things like that. So yeah, I had a blast doing it.
Can you imagine how cool it looked to just have like a random laser maze in my friend's kitchen? It was awesome. Y'all need to try that someday. Also, I flexed my inflexibility because I'm pretty sure they never told me this, but I'm pretty sure the rule was if I could make it through, then they had to make it harder. But they never said anything about that. I don't think they're ever going to confess to that. Mitch, what are some other heisty stuff that you've always, what are some other things that make you excited to make this movie?
Yeah, one big thing that was on my mind thinking about, us coming together to make this this film, our own heist film, is that, we're all, coming together as a family, right? And you see all these crews and heists that are being pulled off in films and things like that. And, they're not just co-workers, they're not just working together. At the end of the day, they're family in a big way, They stick together, they have each other's backs when things are going right, when things are going really south and wrong, and it's just that sense of, familial bond and sticking through thick and thin together that really, I think, is it's just a very fun and very heartwarming thing to me, to come together with a family such as this to make something really fun and special.
To build on that, we've been doing games where we actually did a heist, and you can see it on podcast. Was it a podcast?
We posted it to YouTube.
YouTube. So what we did was we stole the record player that's at the top of the Eiffel Tower, and this is a very real thing. And anyway, we've just been playing games with each other like that to become a family, get to know each other, and get into our characters and into the heist world.
Yeah. And what I love about us doing things like that is, like you said, it's really kind of encouraged us to think outside the box and get into the mindset of somebody pulling off a heist, or in the mind of a master thief, and helping us think critically and rationally about what could go wrong, what are we particularly skilled at that will give us a leg up or an advantage in a heist or things like that. It's just encouraged a lot of critical thinking in that sort of field, and it's just been a fun experience overall.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do need to clarify something. Scarlett did not just confess to a crime. We did not actually go to Paris. There is a real phonograph in the top of the Eiffel Tower. It was a gift from Thomas Edison to Gustav Eiffel. We did not steal it. It is still in the top of the Eiffel Tower. What we did was, there's this podcast called How Do I Rob This?, where people challenge each other with, here's a real thing in a real place, come up with a heist plan, how would you rob this? The more elaborate, the better. And we just ripped off their thing. So we did steal something, but not that. I want to clarify before any of us get taken to jail.
Yeah, it was just a hypothetical that we
heist at that.
Yes.
I literally Googled, how do you steal a phonograph at the Eiffel Tower? So I'm like, yeah, we better clarify, because I'm probably now on some watch lists.
Hey, if people can Google the film How to Blow Up a Pipeline, then I think we're okay.
Yeah, I love that title. Okay, so has anybody heard of the movie How to Blow Up a Pipeline? Okay.
Great film, by the way.
Wow, literally not a single person here. Okay, so the film is intentionally an exercise in stochastic terrorism. Those were big words. The film is intentionally an exercise in encouraging people to commit violence. Because the thesis statement of the film is we should be allowed to destroy public property if it is benefiting the environment. And so the film is a heist showing exactly how to blow up a pipeline while there's oil pipelines being drilled that are going to destroy the environment. And I love they picked a title that just Googling it or setting it on the phone will put you on a watch list. Because it reinforces the themes of the movie so hard of like, hey, if you even know the movie exists, you're already on a watch list. Don't worry. It's hilarious to me. That's such a perfect title. Sorry.
Well,
You know, that also highlights another recurrent theme throughout heist movies, where the person doing the heist would be a bad guy, you know, but they're doing it for the right reasons. So the end justifies the means, makes a heist.
Yeah, there's the person getting heisted has to be despicable enough to be worthy of being heisted, which was really a problem in casting for us, because I wanted the mark to be, fun to watch and classy and sexy and attractive and like, you enjoy watching the mark just as much as you enjoy watching everybody else. But I wanted you to enjoy hating the mark, one of those characters you love to hate. That is such a hard clash. And it led to things like, okay, I know that this character is going to be hated. I need to make sure this character is not part of some sort of like really oppressed minority where getting you to hate them is a really bad idea. That was a fun exercise in casting. Scarlett, you were about to say something.
No, I think that was my point.
Oh, that.
It probably, and it all goes back to like when we were all children, and like one of the first children's books that gets read to us is Robin Hood. And so that kind of gets instilled to us at a very young age that, hey, it's okay to steal from the bad guys if it's for the right reasons.
I forgot my question, and I can't pull up the question while this is up. I'm going to turn this off for a sec. Mitch.
Yes, sir.
How did you go from like not caring about heist movies to loving this genre? Like from not really knowing it exists to going, this is awesome, I need to know more about this.
Well, I mean, I've always been familiar with, the heist subgenre, but it was only upon being cast in Red and Black that I really stopped to think about just how many films that are out there that constitute as a heist movie, which, is really interesting to think about because, we have very particular movies that come to mind when we think of a heist being pulled off, but there are several other major films out there that, yeah, even if the heist isn't the main focus of the plot or the story, there's a heist in it. Guess what? It technically counts as a heist movie.
Yeah, we played a trivia game a while ago, and one of the questions was name a Pixar movie that has a heist, because there's enough of them.
Yes.
We're not going to go into a name in specific, but like, wow, there are so... It feels like any movie out there, you add a heist in there, and it gets better, and people like it more, and then I go, oh, I love heist movies, and people are like, what's that? And I'm like, it's in like freaking every movie you've ever seen. Have you seen a movie? It's the moment where somebody steals something, or steals a person from a prison. There's a lot of heists out there. What is a heist trope that you just love to see? You see this trope and you're like, yes, we're doing the thing!
Safecracking.
Oh yes, tell me more. Why do you love seeing safecracking?
Oh, because it's always different. It's always, is it fingerprints? Is it eye scans? Is it voice controlled? Can you get through it with a laser? Is there heat sensitive? Can you just pick a lock, So that's one of my favorite parts.
Just how much variety there is in actually getting into the vault.
Mm-hmm.